Okay, so keep recounting that.
What actually happened to Daddy and Baby Longlegs in Poppy Playtime? See, in Chapter 2, posters all over the game station clearly show Mommy Longlegs wasn't alone. Playtime Company officially designed a daddy and a baby to complete her set. Most players assumed they were just normal plastic toys that never got turned into terrifying living experiments. But the scientists actually did try to create them to complete the family. So what happened to Mommy Longlegs' family? Well, if you see Daddy Longlegs in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, the experiments were massive failures. The scientists brutally dismantled Daddy and Baby Longlegs right in front of her. This is also the exact reason why Mommy Longlegs hates the Playtime Company employees. What actually happened to Miss Delight's face in Poppy Playtime? In Chapter 3, half of her plastic face is completely ripped away, exposing a creepy, bloody smile. Most people assume it just decayed over time inside the abandoned school, but the truth is, actually way more messed up. But if you see Miss Delight in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, see, there wasn't just one Miss Delight. There were actually 8 identical sisters. After the Hour of Joy, Catnap locked them all inside the school to lessen their numbers through starvation. Driven insane by hunger and paranoia, she literally killed and ate all of her own sisters to survive, completely destroying her face during their brutal fights. What actually happened to Miss Delight's face in Poppy Playtime? In Chapter 3, half of her plastic face is completely ripped away, exposing... Why did Mommy Longlegs actually try to kill us in Poppy Playtime? You see, in Chapter 2 she makes... Why did Mommy Longlegs actually try to kill us in Poppy Playtime? You see, in Chapter 2 she makes a very specific deal with us. If we can survive all 3 of her twisted games, she will give us the train code to escape, and we actually beat every single game. But instead of letting us go, she completely loses her mind, breaks her own rules, and decides to hunt us down. So why did she try to kill us despite us beating all her games? Well, if you see Mommy Longlegs in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, she finally realized exactly who we are. See, the player was an ex-employee of Playtime Company, and we know Mommy Longlegs is only hostile to the factory staff. She literally recognized us as one of the exact employees who tortured her and the other kids, and she decided to take her revenge. Why did Mommy Longlegs? Is Mommy Longlegs actually a monster? Everyone just assumes she's a villain because in Chapter 2, she forced us to survive all of her twisted games. But did you know she wasn't originally a monster? See, she was actually an orphan named Marie Payne. The Playtime Company scientists literally forced her remains inside that stretchy plastic body, and the actual truth is completely heartbreaking. But if you see Mommy Longlegs in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, after becoming Mommy Longlegs, she completely started acting like a real mother to the other experiments and kids. She was only hostile to the people who worked at Playtime Company, and she had enough when the scientists were torturing the kids, so she hunted the staff down during the Hour of Joy to take revenge. Is Mommy Longlegs actually a monster? Everyone just assumes she's a villain because in Chapter 2, she forced us to Is Lily Lovebraids actually Miss Gracie in Poppy Playtime? See, back when Playtime Company was still up and running, there was a cruel employee named Miss Gracie. She was entirely in charge of brainwashing the children, convincing them that their terrifying new life as toys was completely normal. But everything changed during the Hour of Joy. However, if Lily Lovebraids appears in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, is Lily Lovebraids actually Miss Gracie in Poppy Playtime? See, back when Playtime Company was still up and running, there was a cruel employee named Miss Gracie. She was entirely in charge of brainwashing the children, convincing them that their terrifying new life as toys was completely normal. But everything changed during the Hour of Joy. However, if Lily Lovebraids appears in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, her own cruelty was turned right against her when the prototype took his ultimate revenge. He captured her and placed her remains inside the Lily Lovebraids toy, or the experiment 1468. He literally used Miss Gracie's own brainwashing videos against her to transform her into Lily. We even see Miss Gracie's actual skeleton locked up right inside Lily's home. How did Dog Day actually lose his legs in Poppy Playtime? You see, in Chapter 3, when we finally find the leader of the Smiling Critters chained up beneath the playhouse area, his entire lower half is just completely gone. A lot of players just assumed Catnap ripped him apart, but the actual truth is way darker. But if you see Catnap in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, you see, Dog Day was literally the only toy who refused to bow down and worship the prototype. Because of his ultimate betrayal, Catnap didn't just end him quickly. He locked Dog Day away and let those terrifying mini Smiling Critters completely devour his lower half piece by piece. How did Dog Day... Did you know Pianosaurus is actually still... Did you know Lily's brother could actually be our new ally in Poppy Playtime? See, in the new fan-made Chapter 6, we first found Rory Redcape in the cardboard cutout. However, he completely blames us for Lily's tragic accident and literally pushes us down the exact same place where Lily fell to unalive us. But right before we hit the ground, he stretches his cape out and actually saves us. And then he says this:
"You fall when I say you fall."
So why did he actually save us? Well, if you see Rory Redcape in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, he tells us it's completely our responsibility to fix Lily using the Poppy Gel. But everything goes horribly wrong when the prototype suddenly arrives and drags Lily away just to steal her braids. Did you know
चलो कोई
is Lily Lovebraids actually still alive in Poppy Playtime? In Chapter 5, during the crazy dollhouse chase, we all saw her get absolutely crushed by that giant cloud. Everyone just assumed it was game over for her. But you see, right after her accident, if you go to her cardboard cutout and press the red button beside it, she says this.
Did you know your hair keeps growing even after you die?
And if you go straight back to the exact spot where she got crushed, her body is completely gone. So where did she go? Well, if you see the prototype in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, everyone is convinced the prototype dragged her away to fix her. Will Lily's brother going to be the new villain in Poppy Playtime Chapter 6? You see, in the fan-made chapter, we finally meet Rory Redcape, Lily's secret brother. We first found him on a hidden cardboard cutout, and everyone completely assumed he was going to be the hero. But in the new video changes everything. However, if you see Rory Redcape in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, right after Lily's tragic death, Rory tracks down the player and completely blames us for what happened to his sister.
She wasn't a monster to me. She was my sister.
And he doesn't just get mad. He literally pushes us straight down the exact same place where Lily fell. Will Lily's brother going to be the new villain in Poppy Playtime who actually is Lily Lovebraid's secret brother in Poppy Playtime? In the fan-made version of Chapter 5, right after Lily's tragic death, there's a huge secret. If you walk toward her poster, you can actually find a hidden door tucked away to the left. Inside, there's another poster featuring a brand new character named Rory Redcape, and if you press the red button right next to it, he'll literally say his own name.
Hi, I'm Rory Redcape.
What actually are his powers? Well, if you see Doughy in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, in the fan-made commercial, the tape shows him flexing a massive cookie shield and a magical red cape that can stretch and be controlled exactly like Lily's hair. What actually happens if you save Lily Lovebraids in Poppy Playtime Chapter 5? In the game, we ended up taking her down by completely crushing her with the giant cloud. But what if there was actually a way to save her from certain death? Well, if you see the prototype in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, using a specific mod, you can shoot your grab pack just enough to reach Lily and pull her right out of the danger zone before she gets crushed. After that, she actually thanks you for saving her life.
I thought I was gonna die. You saved my life? Why?
She then follows you everywhere, constantly complains about the prototype spying on the two of you, and just casually hangs out right beside you while you're stuck doing puzzles. What actually?
Okay.
Did Tails actually die in Sonic the Hedgehog 2? You see, back in 1992, Sega released a completely different 8-bit version of Sonic 2 for the Game Gear and Master System. In this game, instead of Tails tagging along behind you, he is actually kidnapped by Dr. Robotnik before the game even starts. To save him, you have to find all the Chaos Emeralds scattered across the map to pay his ransom. If you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you get the good ending, where you'll see Sonic and Tails happily running through a field together. But what happens if you just beat the final boss without collecting them? Well, if you see Tails in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, you get the infamous bad ending. Sonic runs completely alone through an empty field. He looks up at the night sky and sees a giant image of Tails forming in the star. Did Tails actually? Where does Sonic's speed actually come from? For decades, we've seen Sonic outrun missiles, lasers, and even time itself. But the source of his speed depends entirely on which universe you're looking at. In the live-action movies, Sonic clearly states he was simply born with his powers.
I was born with extraordinary powers.
Which we can safely assume is his speed. But what about the comic books and the original video games? Well, if you see Sonic in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, in the classic Fleetway comics, Sonic was born a normal brown hedgehog who got his speed by testing Dr. Kintabor's super treadmill. In the games, however, there's no official answer as to why he's so fast, but there's a massive theory that his power comes directly from his red shoes. Where does Sonic's speed actually come from? Why doesn't Sonic actually transform into Hypersonic anymore? You see, the first and literally last time we ever saw Hypersonic form was way back in 1994 in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. To unlock it, Sonic had to collect all 7 Super Emeralds, letting him flash insane colors, wipe out enemies instantly, and become the absolute most overpowered transformation in the entire franchise. But ever since then, Hypersonic has completely vanished. But why? Did Sega just forget about him? Or is there actually a lore reason? Well, if you see Hypersonic in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, according to the lore, the Super Emeralds permanently resides in another dimension, meaning Sonic physically cannot reach them to ever use that insane power again. Why didn't Sonic actually just take off his glove when the bomb got stuck to him in the movie? You see, in the first movie, Robotnik shoots a sticky bomb right onto Sonic's hand. Sonic completely panics, frantically shaking his arm trying to get it off before it explodes. But Sonic is literally the fastest thing alive. Why didn't he just pull his glove off in a millisecond and throw it away? Well, if you see Robotnik in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, in Sonic's first design, he didn't wear gloves at all. This scene was already animated before the studio redesigned him, meaning the bomb was originally stuck directly to his skin. Why didn't Sonic actually just take off his glove?
लड़की की स्किन को हमेशा स्मूथ
What actually happens to you when Mr. Peterson catches you in Hello Neighbor? In the game, the second he finally grabs you, the screen just goes black and you magically respawn right back at your own house. Because of this, most people just assume he simply kicks you out of his house and sends you home. But that's actually wrong. So what does he really do to you during that fade to black? Well, if you see the neighbor in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, if you've noticed, Mr. Peterson always seems to carry a shovel with him. And there is actually a reason for that. You see, in the original pre-alpha trailer, we see exactly what happens after you get caught. The camera cuts and he literally uses his shovel to bury you alive, just like this. What actually happens to why does Mr. Peterson always seem to carry a shovel in Hello Neighbor? In the game, you can actually find a shovel yourself and use it to dig up his buried secrets. However, in the cutscenes, we constantly see Mr. Peterson chasing us down, carrying a shovel, and literally using it to attack us. Even in the game logos and book covers, he always carry a shovel. But what does he actually use that shovel for when you aren't around? Well, if you see Mr. Peterson in your room, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed. Anyway, according to the official lore, there's a deeply tragic story behind that shovel. You see, when his son Aaron accidentally pushed his sister Maya off the roof of their house, Mr. Peterson used that exact same shovel to bury his own daughter in the backyard just to cover up his son's crime. Why does Mr. Peterson never actually